Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Sarah Erdner. Thank you so much for letting me be your mental strength coach. This information is brought to you for Figured Out Baseball. Now this is video 10 of 10 in this series. So if you haven't watched any of the videos before this one, I invite you to start with video 1, because each one of these videos builds on the next to teach you about the foundational components of sports psychology, which now we're here at video 10 where we're going to talk a little bit more about your routines and dig deeper into the routines that maybe you already have, or for some, maybe you don't have them, but I want us to start thinking about what routines that we can put in place that's going to get us into a better rhythm leading up to the performance that we're going to have, increasing our readiness to execute the task, and with increased readiness comes optimal performance. So to start, I want you to get a piece of paper and a pen or pencil. And if you need to go gather these materials, you can pause this video now and take as much time as you need. Now that you have the materials in front of you, write down the routines that you have for each one of these situations in baseball. So, what routine do you have for pre-competition? So what are the things that you do to prepare yourself to compete? What routine do you have in the dugout, if you have one? And if you don't have one right now, I want you to think about and write down what routine you could have in the dugout that's going to increase your readiness for the next task that you're going to perform. When I think about your pre-at-bat, what are you doing when you're in the hole or on deck that is going to get you in rhythm to prepare you to have a great at-bat scenario? And then what are you doing during your at-bat? What routine do you have in between pitches that's going to increase your readiness to optimally perform? Again, what is your pre-fielding routine or your fielding routine, as well as your post-competition routine? Pause this video and take as much time as you need and be as detailed as you can in each one of the rituals that you have for each one of these scenarios. Now that you've completed a detailed write-out of what your routines are for each one of these scenarios, I'm assuming that most of them are very behaviorally focused, where you're talking about how you get to the field, you put your cleats on, that's a physical task, you stretch, that's physical. But what about the thoughts and emotions and your breath? How are we inviting those into your rituals and your routines in order to have what I like to call the trifecta routine? So you're not only having a physical component, which is the actual doing of a routine, the physical things you're doing, but what kind of thoughts and emotions are you attaching to those to go ahead and prime yourself to be mentally stronger for the game? For every single line that you have and routine that you've suggested, I want you to also take the time to write out what thoughts and emotions you would like to have during that time period. I also want to make a point here that your thoughts and your emotions are very much intertwined. So sometimes you might have a thought that provokes an emotion, and sometimes you might have an emotion that provokes a thought. So understanding that these two go hand in hand when pairing them with your physical routine. So for example, during pre-competition, maybe you want to not only feel loose, but to have a very loose and flexible mindset, to not be overthinking anything. So make sure that along with your physical routine that you have, you also have a thought and emotion attached to it. Maybe during the dugout, the same thing. You want to wind down for maybe the at-bat experience you just had or the fielding experience you just had. So again, we want to be relaxed, we want to be loose. But then your pre-at-bat, maybe you really want to rev yourself up to prepare yourself to be a fierce warrior in the batter's box. So at this point, we're thinking about power and thunder and thoughts and emotions that tie to that. And then when you're at bat, you want to feel like a complete warrior in the box. So you're thinking about all of these cue words that we talked about. Maybe it's the last conscious thought that you had of quick hands, quick hands, quick hands. That can be a routine that you have. And then when you step out of a batter's box, what thought and emotion are you having that's going to fuel your performance next? Maybe it's, so what, next pitch, if you didn't do so well, and just brushing off what just happened. What are you doing pre-fielding or on the field? What thoughts and emotions do you want to have that's going to fuel your performance? Making sure to write those down next to the physical routine that you've already written down. As well as what thoughts and emotions do you want to have at the end of the game? Maybe it's a thought of gratitude, thinking about everything you were thankful for during that game, even if it didn't go well. And then having that emotion of gratitude really fill your heart. And then what we can do to make sure that we're priming these emotions is connecting it to our breath. So for example, if pre-competition you want to not only feel relaxed, but think relaxed, you can connect the thought of relaxation, inhaling relaxation, exhaling relaxation. That's going to root you in the present moment, understanding what's important now, which is completing your physical routine as well as using your breath to fuel your body, oxidizing it, sending more power and faster reaction time to your arms, your extremities, and to your brain, as well as priming your emotions and your thoughts to be more performance enhancing rather than performance hindering. When we can come up with a trifecta routine, thinking about the behaviors that we want to have to get us in flow, as well as the thoughts and emotions that we can use to get us in flow, and then using our breath to anchor ourselves in the moment, that's what's going to give us a routine that's going to help us get in rhythm leading up to the task that we have at hand. So, these times of rhythms are when you are going to use these thoughts and emotions. Maybe it's in between each pitch when you step out of the batter's box and collect yourself. Maybe it's when you're in the dugout, using that time more wisely instead of just sitting there wasting the time away, using it very routinely to get yourself in flow in order to increase your readiness to do better at the task that's at hand. Again, my name is Dr. Sarah Erdner. Now in this next video series, Series 2, I'm going to be going more in depth about visualization, which is a very important component for you to learn as a baseball player, because the more you learn to visualize, the higher the probability that you're actually going to have optimal performance in a game. Thank you so much for letting me be your mental strength coach. This information is brought to you for Figure It Out Baseball.